Hey everybody, it's Matt from the house, and this video I'm going to show you how my foot compares measurement-wise to maybe help you, pick out a pair of shoes and get something that is going to fit your foot correctly as well compared to all these shoes that have been testing out. Let's check this out. All right, so right off the bat, obviously we've been testing out these shoes, and I've been talking to you about how, I think they feel on my foot and how they fit my foot, but obviously that doesn't translate to your foot. So what I figured I'd do is I'm gonna shoot a little video. I'm gonna measure my foot real quick, so you can kind of get an idea of how my foot lengthwise and widthwise matches up to a specific size. So for me, if it fits me in a 10.5, and my foot matches the 10.5 on the chart, it'll probably fit you. If your foot's usually a 9, it'll probably fit you in a 9. But this kind of gives you maybe just a little bit of a way to, measure your foot and use my information to help you decide whether, you should size up, size down, or, most of the shoes are pretty true to size. So right off the bat, grab yourself a piece of paper. If you didn't see our other video about how to size your shoes, we're gonna measure your foot real quick. Okay, so quick refreshers. We're gonna take our piece of paper. We're gonna set it right against the wall and make sure we got a wall that doesn't have anything, any like molding or anything like that underneath it. So the paper can sit flush against the wall, but your heel can also sit flush against the wall. And then we're also gonna just take our foot, we're gonna set it right against the wall, and then we're just gonna, boom, stand up on the paper. And then you're just gonna make a quick mark, kind of around your toes. And you can go all the way down, kind of around the outside of your foot as well. Mainly get the widest part and obviously the longest part of your foot. But then once you got that, now we're ready to measure. All right, so we got our measurement of our foot. We've got it from the wall to our toe. That's what we're gonna measure for the length. And then obviously we're gonna measure from the widest point to the widest point, for the width of your foot too. So right off the bat, we go ahead and we measure this thing, and we're gonna start right at the edge. We're gonna go right up, and my foot comes in just under 11 inches. So it's around a 10, let's say maybe like a 10.9. So again, just under 11 inches. And again, if you check that out versus the chart, I believe a 10.5 actually lines up right with it, 10.5. And then width-wise on the shoe, at the widest point of my foot, this can be a little tricky. You're not gonna measure on an angle, you just wanna measure straight across at the width, from the widest point to the widest point. And it looks like I'm coming in, just a hair over 4, so 4 inches wide. So that's not on our chart, but that's a pretty average width foot. If you've got a wide foot or a narrow foot, you probably know, if you try on every single shoe and it feels really, really tight, you probably know that you have a little bit wider foot. Likewise, if your foot seems to be moving around a lot in shoes too, you've got probably a pretty narrow foot. And fortunately, none of the skate shoes really come in widths, but again, there are some shoes that are a little wider than others. You can obviously look at them, or you can just ask us too. So one thing about my foot that is a little different is my pinky toes. They do not touch the ground. I can put them on the ground, but they do not touch the ground. And it definitely can make a sore point on shoes that have a seam right where that toe is, and when the toe of the shoe flexes, it can push down to my toe. So something about my foot that's definitely a little weird, and it doesn't make shoes fit necessarily too narrow, but depending on how much material is cut across the top of the shoe, that can definitely make a big deal too, especially for me. All right, and as for the arch of my foot, I don't have a really high arch or anything. It's definitely you can kind of tell whether you've got flatter feet or you've got higher arches, and a great way is to actually just set your foot on the ground. And somebody with a really high arch, a lot of times you can see all the way underneath the foot. The foot on the outside is not really touching. Obviously it's not touching on the inside. If you've got just a standard arch, obviously it's not touching on the inside as much, but definitely touching the ground on the outside. And if you've got a very flat foot, that means your foot's going to be down lower. That's going to be, most of your foot touches the ground. A lot of times you can see it when you make a footprint too. But my arch, pretty standard on my foot. And actually where that can come into play too is how much material is cut across the top of a shoe. If a shoe has less material on the top, it can be a little tighter, especially up in the mid part of your foot, versus somebody who has a little bit flatter foot, and they might actually sit down a little bit more in the same size or same shoe. All right, well, hopefully that helps you pick out a pair of shoes. Kind of look at your feet, maybe measure them up real quick if you're not sure. If you've always been one size in a shoe, good place to start. Not every single shoe has the same fitting. And we're not even talking company to company. We're talking two shoes within a company. I know the Etnies Joslin, I'm actually a size 10.5, but the Joslin Volk, I'm a size 10. So it can differ from shoe to shoe, but most companies, it's pretty true to size, but it's a good place to start. But again, compared to these shoes, if you're interested in the shoes that, in these videos where I'm testing them out, kind of give you an idea as to how my foot is shaped versus what size shoe it should fit in from the charts, versus what actually, feels comfortable on my foot as well.